Hi, I'm Paul Laney, the retired sheriff from Cass County, North Dakota, and the current vice president of national sales for Turnkey Corrections.
And I'm Lauren Matthews, and I'm the current social media and content specialist for Turnkey.
And you are listening to JailTalk, and as you know from our last episode with Sheriff Barrett, JailTalk is on the road. We are in Phoenix, Arizona. We are here at the National Sheriff's Association's annual conference, and we have a lot of things happening. How's the road trip been for you?
Hot.
Yeah, for a Midwest Minnesota girl, you're not used to this.
Used to the cold.
Yes. Are you melting yet?
A little bit.
All right. Well, now I understand why air conditioning is a big thing down here.
Me too.
I have no idea how people live without it. We were joking earlier about Minnesota and how people think, well, you should be loving this. You're from the upper Midwest. Yeah, we're used to being 70 degrees, not 107 degrees.
Right.
Well, we are, as you know, as we said, we are in here at the annual conference. We had a great conversation with Sheriff Barrett. What an exciting guy. It's going to be neat to follow his career and some of the things that he does as he tries to change some of the perceptions of the country. But we also had a really neat opportunity to talk to somebody who's a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show. Julie Ann Schmidt is with us. She's the annual events coordinator. All of this that happens, you make happen. So welcome to the show, Julie.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
It's good to have you here. There's a lot that happens, and having been an attendee now since 2009, where I came to my first event, you realize a lot of things about this. And we thought, what a perfect way to tell our listeners, the nation sheriffs, our jail administrators, jail staff, all of you out there, this just doesn't happen overnight. And we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Well, as our listeners know, this is usually where I would read a bio of our guest, but since we're on the road, we're actually going to have you share a little bit about yourself for our listeners,
Sure.
if you could.
Well, I live in Minnesota, and I went to school for engineering and didn't like it, and was lucky enough to fall into the meetings industry. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I just love it. About 7 years ago, I had the opportunity to start working with the sheriffs, the first annual meeting in Baltimore, and started supporting NSA with both meetings, the winter meeting and the annual conference. And now I'm fully responsible for the annual conference and enjoy working on this and making sure we're putting on the best conference for our members.
You know, I remember the first time I met you, and I knew, for lack of better terms, being we're a sheriff's industry and a sheriff's conference, there was a new sheriff in town. It was the first time I was doing one of the Sheriffs of the Year presentations. And you know, we get in the back and we're all BSing and doing our thing and having our time. And I saw him out here just, Laney, get up here, you guys are next. Okay, we're on the way. She runs a tight ship, you might say, people. Yes, it was, and you do, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And you know, you all of us. I remember when I first got my very first invite. I was probably been a sheriff maybe a year and a half in my first term, and I got this flyer like this NSA, National Sheriff's Association. How, you know, this sounds like something interesting. It looks big. You know, being a new sheriff, I thought I should maybe go check this out. Maybe I can learn. Not realizing how involved I would become within NSA over the years, but I did my first show in 2009, and I just thought I should attend this and learn more about this. So, Julie Ann, tell us, for all of our listeners out here, we have sheriffs, we have jail administrators, we have all these, the different staff from the sheriff's office. Why should they come to an NSA event?
Well, our goal is that our conferences are the premier, the #1 conference and trade show for law enforcement in the nation. We want to be providing to our members and our non-members who attend. We have a lot of people that attend that are not NSA members, from federal law enforcement and other associations as well. We want to make sure that we're giving you what you need and you're looking for. We're getting you in front of the exhibitors that you need to see, for the products that you need to see, making sure we're finding who's doing that cutting edge stuff so that you're getting to see what's out there as sheriffs or jail administrators. We want to make sure our education content is what is cutting edge. It's highly curated. It's what you guys need to learn, what's new, what's different. Or case studies. We've done a few of those.
Right.
I think you did one for us when we were in DC.
I did.
Being able to, when a sheriff has had a good experience somewhere, has a learning that they can share with everyone else, that we're the conduit to share that information with other sheriffs in the nation. So making sure we've got good content, we've got good access to not only our sponsors but our exhibitors, but being able to put that all together into the right program and the right structure and schedule. We have done a lot of changes. COVID, unfortunately, has put a lot of changes on us, but it also gave us the opportunity. I'd like to look at it as the opportunity to make some changes and try some different things this year. And we've had just real positive support from our exhibitors, our sponsors, our attendees. Our numbers are way more than we expected. And so it's been a great show so far. We're not done. But we like it's really interesting to see the data is showing us everyone that's turning up, even looking at how many no-shows you have at the hotel. Everybody's ready to meet. Everybody's ready to get back together and start sharing information. And our goal here is to be able to provide that conduit and provide that environment through all the different things we put in our schedule.
I think you're exactly right when you talk about people are ready to come out. You can just feel that atmosphere. People are. We've gone through an international crisis with a pandemic. A lot of the sheriffs were on the forefront of that response, and now to be able to come together and learn from each other and learn from those experiences and how to better prepare the next time. Whether it's the riots and the things that have happened around the country, whether it's how to respond to COVID within the jails. We're all here together now. We all get a chance to kind of pick each other's brains. Whether you're sitting around at a networking session having a couple of cold drinks with somebody, or you're at one of the training sessions, you guys make that all happen, and you guys are the conduit for that to happen. And it's really neat to see how that does all come together. And, and you do push hard. I mean, it's neat when you say we want to be the premier, and I think to myself, you see that every day. Work with you guys, talk to you guys, and see what happens. And I think you're well on your way.
Well, and it's important to us, or it's important to me as the planner, to make sure that I am putting out a conference, and with the whole team. It's certainly not me. There's a whole team of us that it takes to put on this conference, but that we're putting out the best content we can, and that we're giving our members and law enforcement what they want. We're very feedback oriented. I'm very feedback oriented. Normally we'd be doing a lot of we do to some degree. We've done the same thing year over year. COVID gave us the opportunity to take a break. Everything that's been going on has caused us to relook at what we deliver and what we're planning. And so we're looking to get a lot of feedback from this conference, because we've tested out some things. We've tried some new things to see. Today we had our award ceremony. In the past, we've incorporated it into our general session. We pulled that out. We wanted to elevate it a little bit more and make our awardees feel special and feel that what they deserve for having earned the award. And it's earned, not won, it's earned, in my opinion. And be able to create that environment. And we're hoping that people like it, and we're looking for feedback on that, and the things that work, we're going to continue. But so we're always hoping to evolve and make sure, because what everyone needs is changing.
Right.
When you think about what law enforcement needs, we added within just the last couple of weeks, we've added some new tracks and new content, just because the world seems to be changing so fast these days. And
I will say this to anybody listening out there, and having been that person that was you back in 2009 when I first came, if you can't find it here, it's you're not going to find it, because the training caliber of training that you guys bring in, the caliber of speakers that are here, you're going to see everybody from our nation's leaders here speaking. You're going to see some of the main players that you see in the news. That's the NSA is a national organization, and you guys have that connection to those people, and they come because they have a chance to speak before the nation's sheriffs and hear from you as well. So I've always been impressed with the access to some of the main players in our country, and then just you do tune into what's happening. If you look at what's happening around this country, you're going to see training blocks on it here. You're going to hear speakers on it here, and I always think that'd be another good reason why to come to a national conference. People, I used to always hear people would say, "Oh, well, they're just junkets. It's just you're spending taxpayer dollars to get away and just go have fun." Networking is a real thing, because if I can learn something from another sheriff has been through something really good or really bad, take it back to my community and better prepare my community for that to happen or not to happen, that is what this is all about, and what you've made happen.
And the networking is an important component. You have to have the right balance when you put together a conference. There has to be the right balance of education, whether it's committee meetings or tasks for the association. But the networking is really important, and that's how you and I met. We met at a networking event, and we clicked. And we've become good friends over the years, and then we've been able to collaborate on different things as well. And so some of the best time and experience you get out of a show is the networking type. So we have to be sure we include it. You have the right amount of breaks, and that's the thing that you can't get at virtual.
Right.
Which I do think, virtual was great to get us through COVID. And I've talked to a few people in the industry that say, they think it's going to stay, and I don't. We did consider doing something virtual, having a virtual, or what would actually be a hybrid component. That would be where you've got live and virtual, and there wasn't the demand. Everyone's ready to meet live, because just can't do the networking.
We're still human beings, and we want human contact, and we want that chance to talk to somebody in person and shake a hand and give a hug or whatever the case may be. And you come to these events and they're like family reunions in a lot of ways because you haven't seen somebody
Oh,
since the last
absolutely.
event.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think it's important, and I think it's well worth your investment of your tax dollars, because you're not here having a party. You have fun, you have a good time. But if you don't come away with something here, you're not trying really hard, because the opportunities are at your fingertips everywhere you turn around.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you might make a great connection with someone who presents at a session that you're like, I like what this person has to say. I know I can learn more from them and make that connection, or the person that's sitting next to you. But you get just as much from sitting down and bonding over hockey.
Yes.
That's where we started.
That's how we bonded.
Yeah,
yes.
we bonded over the hockey. That was something to start to talk about, and you make that connection, and then you find, oh, you know about this and I'm looking for more information on that, or you know about that and I'm looking for more information. You start to build that network. And I do think that's one really important component that and I can only speak for our conference, but NSA does a really good job about creating those connections and that network. And people who get to know each other, and like you said, it's reunions and you're seeing each other and building that relationship, and I need help with this, you encountered this problem, and get some advice.
Give me some advice on how to do that.
Yeah.
You've talked about wanting to get feedback, and if those have attended or those want to be, we want to give you feedback. Or if you have questions about what we just talked about, what would I find, what would I see, what could I do? How do they get a hold of you, or how do they give you that feedback?
Absolutely. I personally am a super feedback-oriented person. If you tell me something negative, it's not negative, it's something I can make better. We really want to get a lot of feedback from this conference. We're doing extra surveying. Anybody that's listening to this, if you've attended the conference, I would love feedback. I will give you my email. It's jschmidt@sheriffs.org. If you'd like to know more about our conference, if you think you've been in the past and something's missing, or you wonder if we do this, please drop me a little note. I will follow up. And really want to get feedback from people. We normally, we're in Kansas City next year. Normally I would have a lot of Kansas City already planned so that we can open registration. But we're doing so much different this year, and coming out of COVID, we want to make sure we get the right feedback from everyone before we do that. So we've got our skeleton for Kansas City, but we're really going to finish it off after we get feedback from this conference. So.
Excellent. Well, I can tell you from having been here and been around it, that it is different this year, and I've been to a lot of NSAs and was heavily involved, and and I liked a lot of what I've seen, and we talked about some different feedback. You and I talked about the lunch earlier today, so she really, when she says she wants it, she does want it.
Yes.
And please, if you got the feedback or you want to learn more, give her a call or reach out to her in an email.
Well, and it's really important to me as well to make sure that as we're doing this and we're creating this content, there's also the generational piece. What our mature sheriffs that have been around for quite a while are looking for out of the show, and what our young guys that are just coming up, or gals that are just coming up, want is different. And so we're really trying to make sure we're reaching the full broad audience of law enforcement as well.
Well, I know you have a question, because you do a little bit of this for us, don't you?
I'm very interested in the event planning piece of it, so basically your entire job.
Yes.
Our marketing department does a little bit of event planning. We have our annual users conference that we do every year, but it's not quite to the magnitude of, a week-long event that from what I hear, spend a year plus planning. So if you can just give us a little bit of insight into what that process looks like.
Oh, absolutely. So you're right, we do spend more than a year planning. We're in Kansas City a year from now, and I've been working on Kansas City details and planning for that since probably February. So that's kind of our cycle. COVID threw us off a little bit this year, but we selected Kansas City a few years ago. So we look for where we're going to go about 5 years out, just because of the size of our show. You've got to look that far out to have the amount of space you need with the convention center. And we start planning about a year and a half out is when we really start rolling on it. So I'm always planning at least 2 meetings at a time. And so that does give us the opportunity to, when we do a learning from one conference, to be able to apply it to the next. We put a lot of effort in. You talk about things that are different. We really wanted to take a step back and look at everything this year, and we looked at everything from your website, what's your marketing campaign, what is your ticket pricing, all of those components that don't maybe seem like they're meeting planning. It's not about the AV or the food and beverage. So we've looked at every single component of the conference this year and kind of reevaluated that. And so it's all those different components, and I certainly don't do it by myself. There's a whole team of people. We've got our marketing people, our comms people. We've got someone who just is responsible for all the seminar content. We'll start opening up the call for seminars this fall. So that's how far we're looking at that. And then we've got a whole other team that are working on the trade show and working on the sponsorship pieces. And so it's a team effort, and really about 1.5 years is what the planning cycle is. And you've got to do all the different moving parts, doing everything from, as you know, scripts for the award show and to, the production components of that. So that's how long we've been we plan normally. COVID definitely threw a wrench in it because we were into our planning with Tampa and we had to cancel. So then that was a new component of having, how do you cancel a program? I've been in the industry more than 25 years. That's the first time I've had to do that. And so that was an interesting learning curve that last year. So
yeah. Well, I can say it definitely being my first NSA conference, you make it seem seamless. I mean, and I think that's important for sheriffs to know, because I know a lot of them probably come to the show and they're like, oh, this is just, just another event, but like for them to know all the work that goes into it, and I'm sure they do appreciate it, but for them to hear it, I think is important.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, because that's the goal. It doesn't matter if we talked about the analogy of the duck on water. I want you to see me smooth, and the whole team, we want you to see us as just gliding smoothly across the water and not worry about how fast we're pedaling, underneath. And there are a lot of moving parts and different things you have to coordinate. But to me, as long as it feels seamless to you guys, that's the goal. You know this in the meeting planning world. There's always something that goes wrong with your show, but as long as your audience doesn't see it, then that doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
I can tell from the years of doing it and having been a board member with NSA, you get very connected to you guys. And there's the Julie Ann and the and the Lindsays and the Christies and all that are out there that are outside of the show. And then there's the ones you meet at the show, and it's like, hey, hello. I think I'll talk to you next month, because you guys are just a blur, but I think you meet that goal. And I was talking to Jessica earlier today at the awards thing, and I'm like, how are you? She goes, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
But she goes, we're getting it done, and you can just see that. And I think that's one of the things that we who come, we just go to this well-attended event, and we go to this well-run event, and I go to my classes, and I go to my meetings, and you walk in, and everything's set up and ready to go, so we can come in and do business. And behind the scenes, you guys are going at 1,000 miles an hour. And I think
you're giving away our secrets. I want everyone to think it's seamless and easy.
Well, it is for us because of what you do. It is seamless, and so I think it was just neat as we were listening to talk about all this, is for you to be able to come in and share that experience, and I appreciate you. And I know we're coming to the end of the show, but we have a lot of people out here listening. We have a lot of people that our whole listening audience is who we want to attend here, our clients or future clients. You have an open platform. What would you like to say to them?
Well, I'd like to say come to our conference. We'd love to see you next year in Kansas City. We really are striving to make sure we are providing the content that law enforcement wants, that we're giving you the opportunities to meet with the people you need to meet with. You're hearing the educational content you want. You're having those networking opportunities. We really want to make sure we're providing that to you. That's why we're so feedback oriented, and really do think we are hitting our goal of being that premier product that's out there, the best conference that you can go to for law enforcement. We have lots of partnerships with a lot of organizations, and we, between the training and the content, really want to provide that good opportunity. So hopefully I'm going to see all of you next year in Kansas City, and you're going to say, oh, I saw her dart by, rushing off to get something taken care of. But then there'll be that time to stop. In the evenings, we usually have some time to see everybody, and the different reception staff is always at those. So that's always a good time. Once we get to the receptions in the evenings, then we get our downtime to talk with everyone. But hopefully we will see you next year in Kansas City. I know I'll see the both of you, right?
You definitely will. And I guess, as Turnkey Commission, we are very proud sponsors. We love the Sheriff of the Year Award. We love the things that we do here. If we have people out there that want to support NSA, do they reach out to you the same way?
Absolutely.
And have those discussions
I'll get connected with the right person on our team. And I have to say thank you to you, because without your support, we wouldn't be able to do the things we do. Your support of the Sheriff of the Year Award is very important to us, and it's a very big award. And it's and I know you're as a former award winner as well. You've been on both sides of it, and so you see the value of it.
Yes.
But those things are important too, that we're making sure that we're doing things, we're recognizing our law enforcement. We're not just giving you education. We're not just showing you where you can buy the products you need. We're also recognize those who are showing leadership in their communities or in their state. And we've got a new thing that we're doing. Joyce Stanforth, who is our current First Lady, wife of Sheriff Vern Stanforth from Fayette County, Ohio, has created the Spouses Guild. So now we're starting to make sure we're doing more for the spouses as well. So
Excellent,
So, yeah.
excellent. And I did notice there was quite a few spouses doing a lot of events this year,
Yeah.
and it's fine. And I know how much my spouse loved coming to these NSA events
Oh, absolutely.
and being involved. So that's great to
Well,
hear.
that's the other piece. It's not just for the sheriff or the deputy. We have a lot of spouses that come and they start to develop their own relationships and experiences, and that again helps them when their spouse might be struggling with
Right.
something. They build their own network of support.
Oh, yes, they do.
That they know that they understand what the other one's
Right.
going through, and so I really love that Joy's creating this spouses guild, and we're going to really tap into that more.
Excellent. Well, I know how busy you are. I'm shocked we got you for this long, and I want to thank you just for taking that. When I say it, taking time out of your crazy schedule, you took time out of your crazy schedule to come spend some time with us and share with our listeners what it's like
Happy
to put on a conference like this and to attend this conference. And I think the best way you could say thanks is show up to next year's conference.
Absolutely.
And come see it for yourself and make your own opinion yourself. And we as the nation's sheriffs, we as the sheriff's offices of America, we make a difference every single day, and we need to come together at times, and here's our perfect conduit to do that.
And we have a scholarship program. We've started a couple of years ago. Our past presidents have created, and they fundraise for that. And so that new sheriffs that have never attended our conference before are able to attend. And so that information is on our website as well. And so that's another piece, that if it's something financially it's hard for you to get here, be sure you look at our scholarship application and apply for that as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
And I know you're going to be off and running here again soon, but it has been a privilege to have you on the show, and we'll just watch you blur around here in the next few days.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for having me. As always, whatever turnkey wants, you guys are always there to help us in NSA, and I'd like to I'm always happy to return the favor, and nice to talk with all of you, and thank you all for having me.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. Well, this is the end of the show, and she's going to be blurring out of here a little bit, but we always have to have Lauren do her thing.
That's right. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and you can email us comments, questions, or if you want to be featured on the show, email us at jailtalkpodcast@gmail.com.
Like she said. Well, thanks again, Julie.
Thank you.
Lauren, we got some things to go do.
That's right.
All right. So I am Paul Laney.
And I'm Lauren Matthews.
You've been listening to Jail Talk, and we're going to go hit the show and do some more around NSA, and we'll see you all soon.